All right, listen up. You can do everything else right. Your harness fits perfectly, your lanyard is solid, you've had all the training. But if this one thing, your anchor point, is wrong, well, none of it matters. Today we're breaking down the single part of your fall protection that people get wrong the most. And it's the part that can be fatal. Just let that sink in for a second. The harness fits, the lanyard is clipped in, you're tied off. You think you're safe. But if that anchor point can't hold, the whole system just completely fails, right at the moment you need it the most. And getting this wrong has killed workers who absolutely thought they were protected. So to really get a handle on the risk here, you gotta see the whole picture. Every time you clip in, you're putting your life in the hands of what we call a personal fall arrest system, or a PFS. The best way to think about it is like a chain. It's got 3 critical links, and every single one of them has to be perfect. Yep, these are what we call the ABCs of fall protection. A is for anchorage. That's the point where your whole system connects to the building or structure. B is for the body harness. That's the gear you're actually wearing. And C is for the connector, your lanyard or SRL that connects you in your harness to that anchor. Sounds simple, right? Well, here's the catch. Because a system is only as strong as its weakest link. Your harness, your lanyard, they can be rated for thousands of pounds of force. But if your anchor point can't take that same hit, the whole thing is useless. And here's the kicker. The anchor is the one piece that you, the worker on site, have the most control over. And it's also the one that causes the most confusion.
So that's the big question, isn't it? Exactly how strong does that anchor need to be? This is where we get into the absolute core OSHA requirement. And look, it's a number that sounds almost impossible at first. It might not seem logical, but it's based on some very, very real and powerful physics.
Okay, here's the number. The one you need to burn into your memory. 5,000 pounds. That's right. According to the OSHA standard, your anchor point has to be able to support at least 5,000 pounds for every single worker tied off to it. So you might be thinking, why so high? I don't weigh 5,000 pounds. And you're right. It's not about how much you weigh just standing there. It's all about the incredible dynamic force that's generated when you fall. Think about it. A 200-pound worker who falls just 6 feet generates almost 1,800 pounds of force the second that lanyard goes tight. The 5,000-pound rule is there to handle that insane force plus a huge safety factor on top. So what does 5,000 pounds actually look like? Picture this, a full-size pickup truck. That's the amount of force your anchor point has to be able to take without even breaking a sweat. So the next time you're on site, look around and ask yourself, what around here can actually hold the weight of a truck? Now, it's important to know there is an or in the OSHA rule. An anchor can be rated for less than 5,000 pounds if, and this is a big if, it's part of a complete engineered system. And that system has to be designed by a qualified person and maintain a safety factor of at least 2. The bottom line here is this is not a loophole for you to guess. It means it's been documented, it's been verified, and an expert has signed off on it.
Okay, so we're looking for something that can hold a pickup truck. But let's get real. What does that actually look like on a job site? What can you actually tie off to? And more importantly, what should you never tie off to? Because knowing the difference is, and I'm not exaggerating, a life or death decision. Let's break it down. On one side, you've got things that are generally acceptable, but they still need to be verified. We're talking about big stuff like structural steel I-beams, reinforced concrete columns. Then on the other side, you've got the deadly mistakes, tying off to things like electrical conduit, HVAC units, or flimsy guardrails. Come on, those things were never, ever designed to catch a falling person. They will fail. So how do you know for sure? Simple. You don't guess, ever. An anchor point has to be identified by what OSHA calls a qualified person. Now, this isn't just any guy on the crew. This is someone with the specific training and knowledge to look at that anchor and assess its strength based on real engineering principles. And for anything really complex, it needs to be certified by a licensed professional engineer. It's a formal process, not just a gut feeling. Okay, so let's imagine you've done everything by the book. You found a great anchor, you had it verified, you know for a fact it can hold 5,000 pounds. You're totally safe, right? Not necessarily. There's another hidden killer out there, a hazard that can get you killed even when your anchor holds perfectly. It's called a swing fall. So what in the world is a swing fall? Well, it's a hazard that happens not from falling straight down, but from swinging side to side. It's physics, really. You become a human pendulum, and you're at the very end of it. Here's how it works. A swing fall happens anytime your anchor point isn't directly over your head. So if you slip and fall, you don't just drop straight down. No, you start to swing like a pendulum on a clock, arcing back towards whatever you're tied off to. And as you swing, you pick up a ton of horizontal speed. And this is where it gets really brutal. All that speed sends you slamming into whatever's in your path. A wall, a steel beam, a piece of machinery, with just devastating force. You could even swing so far you hit the floor or a level below you. The impact forces in one of these swing falls can actually be way worse than a straight vertical fall. People die from these, not because the fall protection failed, but because of what they hit at the end of the swing. So, the rule of thumb, the most important thing to remember is this. Keep your anchor as directly overhead as you possibly can. The farther you move away from it sideways, the bigger that potential swing becomes, and the bigger the danger. The only way to prevent a swing fall is to stay in that safe zone right underneath your anchor. All right, let's talk about the final piece of this puzzle. That's your connector, the C from our ABCs. And the choice you make here, whether you're using a standard lanyard or a self-retracting lifeline, an SRL, well, that choice directly impacts another huge life or death factor, your total fall distance. Just look at the difference. A standard 6-foot shock-absorbing lanyard, it has that little pack, the deceleration device, that has to deploy. That can add another 3.5 feet to your fall. So you add that to your lanyard length and a little harness stretch, and you could easily fall over 15 feet before you actually stop. But an SRL, that thing locks up almost instantly, stopping you in just 12 to 18 inches. That makes a huge difference in how much clearance you need below you to be safe. This is why you have to calculate your total fall distance before you even start work. You've got to add it all up: lanyard length, deceleration distance, harness stretch, plus a safety factor. You have to be 100% certain that there's enough room below you to keep you from hitting the ground or anything else. Yeah, an SRL can make that calculation a lot easier, but no matter what you're using, you still got to do the math. Look, details like these, they're literally the difference between going home at the end of the day and not. If you want to get more expert breakdowns on the OSHA rules that are designed to keep you safe on the job, make sure you subscribe to HSEstudy. So, before your next shift, before you clip that snap hook in, just stop for 1 second and ask yourself this question. Is the anchor I'm about to trust with my life a proven lifesaver, or is it a liability just waiting to fail? Your life literally depends on that answer. Stay safe out there.